Alright, so today we'll be working on this 2016 Hyundai Tucson to investigate the function of the catalyst. We'll be heating the vehicle up and seeing how the catalyst begins to work. So on this vehicle, the catalyst is located right about under where the driver and passenger would sit. So you can see here the secondary O2 sensor is actually inside the catalyst. And to start out with, the pre-catalyst temperature is 72 degrees. And the post-catalyst temperature is also 72 degrees. The primary O2 sensor on this vehicle is located right behind the exhaust manifold here.
Here we have our car pulled up on all data, and when we pulled up the exhaust system, it shows us the catalytic converter. This car only has one, and here is the O2 sensor, the downstream, and then the upstream air-fuel ratio sensor will be higher up near the exhaust manifold.
We're now going to idle the vehicle for about 10 minutes and check the temperatures of the cat after this to see if we can get the cat up to temperature.
So here we did pre-cat and post-cat. From start time to end time, you could see that we went from 72 to 256. Temperature did increase as it warmed up in idle. Our next test, we'll be revving it up to see how that affects the catalytic converter.
Alright, so we've now completed the 5-minute test at 2500 RPM. As you can see, at idle, the temperature was very slowly increasing, and there were pretty significant differences between pre-cat and post-cat. But once we revved the vehicle up, that difference really decreased, and the temperature began to start jumping dramatically. We got all the way up to 440 degrees on the pre-cat side, and 429 degrees on the post-cat side.
Alright, how do we do it? So here we'll be checking the temperature throughout the whole exhaust system. We'll start off with the exhaust manifold. Currently it's sitting at 400 degrees. The cat is sitting at 245 degrees. The pipe after the cat is sitting at 190. And the muffler is sitting at 120 degrees. So we held the car for another 5 minutes at 2500 RPMs. We were able to get the pre-cat to go up a significant amount, but the post-cat didn't go up too much.
So we have now connected a scan tool to the vehicle. Based on the scan tool, you can see here, it reads the mean amplitude of the secondary O2 sensor, which is 0.961. And the threshold value for a catalyst defect on this sensor would be 0.937. So based on the sensor reading there, compared to the threshold, that means our catalyst is operating within parameters. Alright, so today we'll be working on this Buick. We'll be doing much of the same with the exhaust temperatures, except we will be experimenting with rich and lean conditions to see how that affects exhaust temperatures and the catalytic converter temperatures as well. You can see I have most of the relevant PIDs pulled up on the scan tool right here, mainly short-term fuel trim, long-term fuel trim, MAP, RPM, and the O2 sensor values. This particular vehicle is actually running lean already, so I don't actually have to simulate the condition, but I may pull off another vacuum hose to make it more drastic. So we're actually getting some very interesting readings from this vehicle. If you see on the temp gun, right here on the exhaust, I'm reading in the 500 range. If I go slightly further, see the reading drops off drastically to the 300 range. So after a few minutes of idling the vehicle, this vehicle does have a very high idle. You can see the exhaust temperature pre-cat is about 630 degrees. And if we go down, the exhaust temperature post-cat is 620 degrees. Based off these readings, it does sound like the cat has already lit off within a few minutes. I've now created a vacuum leak on this vehicle, a rather massive vacuum leak. You can see the map reading is now at 30, so that's atmospheric. And you can see the O2 sensor readings both went lean on this vehicle. Upon making that vacuum leak, you can see the exhaust temperatures have actually dropped, or rather not heated up anymore. So they're staying at about the same place they were earlier, dropping a little lower to 600. And this was despite the vehicle running for another few minutes. You can see here the post-cat temperature is still about 676. Oh, never mind, 620, 600. So the high temperatures we previously experienced were due to a vacuum leak or a misfire. And after clearing the codes, it does look like that misfire has gone away temporarily. The fuel trims are still behaving very erratically. We'll see if the misfire comes back.
We will now be injecting propane into the intake to see how that will affect the catalytic converter temperatures. So as we were adding propane, the numbers we got was 280 degrees Fahrenheit pre-cat, and it increased a significant amount to about 400 degrees Fahrenheit post-cat.